I was 28 years old when I stopped believing in family. My name is Maya Chen, and for 2 decades, I'd built a life on the foundation of being alone. No parents, no siblings, no roots. Just me, my studio apartment in Portland, and a job managing inventory at a medical supply warehouse. Then, on a Tuesday morning in March, I opened my mailbox and found a letter that would shatter everything I thought I knew about myself. The envelope was thin, official-looking. DNA kinship registry, printed in the corner. My hands shook as I tore it open. Match found, 99.9% sibling probability. 2 individuals, contact information enclosed. 2 siblings, real siblings. The brother and sister I never knew existed. The letter included a phone number and a single line that stopped my heart. They've been searching for you for 15 years. They have information about your mother and why you were separated. I stared at my phone for 3 hours. My finger hovered over the call button 17 times. Because here's the thing, nobody tells you about finding family after 20 years. What if they're looking for you because they need something? What if they're dangerous? What if the reason we were separated was because I was the one who needed to disappear? But the words haunted me. Information about your mother. I pressed call. Before I tell you what happened on that phone call, I need you to do something for me. Hit that subscribe button right now and smash the like. Then comment below. Would you have made that call, or would you have burned the letter? Because what I'm about to tell you next, it didn't just change my life. It revealed a truth so devastating that even 15 years later, my siblings couldn't talk about it without breaking down. Stay with me. Because the woman who answered that phone, she told me 3 words that made my entire childhood make sense and broke my heart into 1,000 pieces. Maya? The voice was female, mid-30s maybe, trembling like she'd been crying, or maybe like she'd been waiting her entire life for this moment. This is Maya, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. Oh my God, it's really you. She was sobbing now, full-on gasping for air. I'm sorry, we've been looking for so long. My name is Sarah Chen. I'm your older sister. Sister. The word felt foreign in my mouth. I'd never had a sister, never had anyone. And there's someone else here, Sarah continued, her voice steadying slightly. Our brother, Daniel, he's been the one driving this search. Hold on. Rustling. A male voice, deeper, controlled, but with an edge of barely contained emotion. Maya, I'm Daniel Chen. I'm 33. You were 3 years old the last time I saw you. His voice cracked. You were wearing a yellow dress with sunflowers on it. You were holding a stuffed rabbit. Do you remember any of that? I closed my eyes. Somewhere in the darkness of my earliest memories, there was yellow. There was softness. There was warmth before the cold. No, I lied. Because admitting I remembered meant admitting I'd forgotten, meant admitting I'd survived by erasing them. That's okay, Daniel said quickly. That's okay. We have so much to tell you, about Mom, about why we were separated, about... He stopped abruptly. Can we meet? In person? I know this is overwhelming, but there's something you need to see, something physical we need to give you. What is it? I asked. It's from Mom, Sarah said, back on the line. She made us promise to give it to you if we ever found you. She died 6 months ago, Maya, but before she died, she told us the truth, about everything. The room tilted. I sat down hard on my couch. She died? Yes. Sarah's voice was gentle now, the voice of someone who'd practiced delivering bad news. But she never forgot you. She spent her entire life trying to find you. And Maya, the reason you were taken from us, it wasn't what you think. You need to know the truth. You deserve to know why. We agreed to meet 3 days later at a coffee shop in downtown Portland. Neutral territory, public, safe. I arrived 20 minutes early and ordered a black coffee I wouldn't drink. My leg bounced under the table. I told myself I wouldn't care what they looked like, that DNA didn't mean anything after 20 years of silence. I'd lied to myself about a lot of things. At exactly 2 o'clock, the door opened and 2 people walked in. I knew them instantly, not from memory, from a mirror. Sarah had my eyes, dark brown, almost black, almond-shaped. She was petite, maybe 5'3", wearing a blue cardigan and jeans. Her hair was pulled back in a ponytail, and she was gripping a manila envelope so tightly her knuckles were white. Daniel was tall, 6 feet easily, with the same sharp jawline I'd always hated on myself. He had our mother's nose. I somehow knew this without ever having seen her. He wore a pressed button-down shirt and looked like he'd come straight from an office. His eyes scanned the coffee shop methodically until they landed on me. He stopped breathing. Sarah's hand went to her mouth. I stood up, not because I decided to, but because my body moved without permission. Maya, Sarah whispered. She crossed the distance between us in 4 steps and pulled me into a hug that felt like drowning and breathing at the same time. I stood rigid at first, then Daniel joined, his arms wrapping around both of us, and something inside me that had been frozen for 20 years cracked open. "You're real," I heard myself say. "You're actually real." We sat down at the table, all of us crying, none of us caring that the entire coffee shop was staring. Daniel pulled out a photograph first, faded, creased, clearly carried everywhere for years. "This is us," he said, sliding it across the table. "You were 3, I was 8, Sarah was 6. 3 children, a tiny girl in a yellow dress, me, standing between 2 older kids on a front porch. We were smiling, we looked happy." "I don't remember this," I said. "That's because it was taken 2 days before you disappeared," Sarah said quietly, "before CPS showed up, before everything fell apart." I looked up sharply. "CPS? Child Protective Services?" Daniel nodded, his jaw tight. "Someone called in a report, said Mom was neglecting us, using drugs, that the house was unsafe. None of it was true, Maya, none of it." "Then why?" "Because Mom was undocumented," Sarah said. The words came out like a confession. She'd come to the US from Taiwan when she was 19. Her visa expired. She was working 2 jobs under the table, trying to keep us fed and housed. When CPS showed up, they didn't just investigate. They called ICE. The coffee shop blurred. "They deported her?" I whispered. "No," Daniel said. "Worse, they gave her a choice. They told her she could leave voluntarily and take all 3 of us back to Taiwan with her," Daniel continued, his voice hollow. "Or she could stay and fight the case, but we'd be put in foster care during the proceedings. The lawyer told her the case would take months, maybe years, that we'd be split up, that we'd age out of the system." Sarah picked up the story, her hands shaking around her coffee cup. "Mom had no money for a real lawyer, no support system. Her English wasn't great, and she knew if she took us to Taiwan, we'd have nothing. She'd have nothing. She made minimum wage in America. In Taiwan, she'd make even less. 3 kids, no job lined up, no place to live." "So she chose," I said numbly. "She chose you," Daniel said, and the words hit me like a physical blow. "She kept me and Sarah because we were older, school-aged. She thought we could handle it, could adjust. But you were 3 years old, Maya. You needed stability. You needed a chance at a real childhood. So she signed the papers. She gave up her parental rights to you specifically. She voluntarily placed you for adoption." The room was spinning now. "She abandoned me?" "No," Sarah said fiercely, leaning forward. "She sacrificed herself for you. The caseworker told her that a 3-year-old Chinese girl would be adopted quickly, that you'd get a good family, a better life than she could give you. She thought she was saving you." "But I wasn't adopted," I heard myself say. "I stayed in foster care until I aged out at 18, 14 different placements. I was never adopted." The color drained from Daniel's face. "What?" "They told her you'd been placed with a family," Sarah whispered. "They said you were thriving, that you'd asked to change your name, that you didn't want contact. They said you were happy." We stared at each other across the table, 3 siblings learning that the system had lied to all of us. "What happened to you and Mom?" I finally asked. "She took us back to Taiwan," Daniel said. "We lived there for 3 years. She worked in a factory, sent us to school. Then, when I was 11, she managed to get a work visa through a manufacturing company. We came back. She spent every spare dollar she had trying to find you, hired private investigators, filed petitions with the state. But your records were sealed, adoption records. They told her she had no legal right to the information." "She never stopped looking," Sarah said, "even when she got sick, especially when she got sick." "Sick?" Daniel opened the manila envelope. "Pancreatic cancer, stage 4 by the time they caught it. She had 6 months. She spent 4 of them making us promise we'd keep searching, that we'd give you this." He pulled out a letter. The paper was thin, covered in shaky handwriting, English mixed with Chinese characters, the handwriting of someone who was dying. "We can't read it to you," Sarah said gently. "It's yours. But Maya, before you read it, you need to understand something. Mom didn't just die 6 months ago. She died believing she'd failed you, believing you'd grown up thinking she didn't want you." I couldn't read it there, not in the coffee shop with strangers watching and my siblings' eyes on me. I took the letter, folded it carefully, and put it in my bag. "There's something else," Daniel said. "The reason we were so desperate to find you now, it's not just about closure." He pulled out another document, legal papers. "Mom had life insurance," Sarah explained. "Not much, but enough to leave something behind. She split it 3 ways. Your portion has been sitting in a trust for 6 months. But beyond that, there's the house." "House?" "She bought a house 5 years ago," Daniel said. "A small place in Vancouver, Washington, just across the river from Portland. She was renovating it, slowly, as she could afford it. She told us it was for her retirement, but we found letters after she died. Letters she'd written but never sent. They were all addressed to you." He slid another photograph across the table. A small blue house with white trim, a porch, a garden. "Every room was for one of us," Sarah said softly. She was building a place where we could all come home, where we could be a family again. She never gave up on that dream, Maya. She left the house to all three of us. Equal shares. I couldn't breathe. Why are you telling me this? Because there's a problem, Daniel said. A legal problem. The house is in probate, and someone's contesting the will. Who? Our father. The word hung in the air like poison. Our what? Sarah's expression turned hard. The man who called CPS in the first place. The man who got Mom deported. He's come out of the woodwork now that there's money involved. He's claiming parental rights to you, Maya. He's saying because you were legally separated from Mom, your inheritance should go to him as your biological father. I don't understand. Where's he been for 20 years? Prison, Daniel said flatly. He got out 3 years ago. He's been watching, waiting, and now he wants what he thinks is his. But I never knew him, I said. He's not on any of my paperwork. Mom raised me alone before CPS. He was abusive, Sarah cut in. To Mom, to us. She left him when you were 2, got a restraining order. But he found us anyway. And when he did, he called CPS and told them Mom was on drugs, that she was prostituting, that we were being neglected. All lies. But it worked. It destroyed our family. And now he wants money, I said numbly. He wants the house, Daniel corrected. His lawyer says because Mom signed over her rights to you, she severed the legal parent-child relationship. That makes you an emancipated minor who aged out of the system. And since he never signed away his rights because he was never identified as your legal father, he's claiming paternal inheritance rights through you. That's insane. It's legal, Daniel said grimly. Our lawyer says he has a case, a weak one, but a case. And Maya, he's not going to stop at the house. He knows about the trust. He knows about the life insurance. He's going to come after all of it. I looked between my siblings, these 2 strangers who were my blood, who'd spent 15 years searching for me, who were telling me our mother died believing I'd grown up hating her. What do we do? I whispered. Daniel leaned forward. We fight, but we need you to testify. We need you to go on record about what your childhood was like, about being in the system, about never being adopted. We need to prove that what Mom did, giving you up, wasn't abandonment. It was an act of love that a broken system twisted into cruelty. And we need to do it fast, Sarah added. The hearing is in 2 weeks. If we lose everything. Not the money, the house, the last thing Mom left us, the place she built dreaming we'd all come home. 3 days later, Sarah picked me up and drove me across the river to Vancouver. The house was smaller in person than in the photograph, but somehow more real, more solid. The blue paint was fresh. The garden was overgrown but deliberate. Someone had planted roses and lavender and let them run wild. Daniel was already there, standing on the porch. Ready? He asked. I wasn't. But I nodded anyway. The inside was frozen in time. Boxes everywhere, half unpacked, half finished projects. In the living room, there were 3 walls painted different colors, like Mom had been trying to decide and couldn't choose. She was diagnosed the week after she bought the paint, Sarah said quietly. Never got to finish. We walked through the house in silence. Kitchen, bathroom, then 3 bedrooms upstairs. The first was clearly Daniel's. Desk by the window, bookshelf already installed, a framed photo of him graduating college on the dresser. The second was Sarah's. Pale yellow walls, art supplies in the corner, a sewing machine. The third room was mine. The walls were white, blank, waiting. But on the floor, leaning against the wall, were canvases, dozens of them. And on each canvas was a painting, all of me. She painted from memory, Daniel said from the doorway. Every birthday, every Christmas, she'd paint what she thought you might look like, how you might have grown. I knelt down. A 3-year-old in a yellow dress, a 6-year-old missing front teeth, a teenager with long hair, a young woman in graduation robes I'd never worn. She never stopped seeing you, Sarah whispered. I picked up the last painting. It was dated 3 weeks before she died. It was me, now, adult me. Not perfect, but close enough that it took my breath away. How? I asked. She hired a PI 2 years ago, Daniel said. He found your address, took a photo from across the street. She painted from that. She never approached you, Maya. She thought you wouldn't want to see her. I set the painting down carefully and pulled out the letter. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely unfold it. The first line was in Chinese characters. Daniel translated softly. My precious daughter, my Maya. Then English. If you are reading this, I am gone. I hope you are reading this knowing that I spent every day of my life loving you. Every single day. I know what I did was unforgivable. I know giving you away broke you. It broke me too. But I want you to know why. I want you to understand. I was young and stupid and alone. I thought if I kept you, you would grow up poor and scared like me. I thought you deserved better. The caseworker showed me pictures of families waiting to adopt, families with big houses and good jobs and college funds. I thought I was choosing your future over my heart. I was wrong. I should have fought. I should have kept all three of you together no matter what. But I was so scared, Maya. So scared that I couldn't keep you safe, that I couldn't give you the life you deserve. I learned later what happened, that you stayed in foster care, that you were never adopted, that they lied to me. When I found out, I tried everything to get you back. But the system said no, said I'd given up my rights, said you were better off. I never believed them. I built this house for us, for all three of you, a place where we could be whole again, where you could come home. I'm sorry I'm not there to open the door for you, but my love is in every wall, every paint stroke, every room. This house is yours. You are always home here. Your brother and sister never stopped believing we'd find you. Hold on to them. They are good people. They are your blood. And know this, every birthday, every Christmas, every moment of your life, I was thinking of you, painting you, loving you. You were never abandoned. You were always mine. Come home, my Maya. The door is always open. The letter was signed with a shaky mom and a heart. I folded it carefully and looked up at my siblings through tears. We're keeping this house, I said. The courthouse in Vancouver was gray and cold, exactly what you'd expect from a building designed to process human tragedy on an industrial scale. Daniel wore a suit, Sarah wore a black dress. I wore the only professional outfit I owned and felt like I was about to throw up. Our father, the man I'd never met, the man who destroyed our family, sat on the other side of the courtroom with his lawyer. He was 50-something, balding, wearing an ill-fitting suit that screamed, "I borrowed this for court." He didn't look at us, not once. Our lawyer, a sharp woman named Patricia Chen, no relation, had prepped me for 3 hours the night before. "Tell the truth," she'd said. "Just tell the truth about what your childhood was like. Let the judge see what his actions cost you." The hearing started with legal arguments, paternity tests, inheritance law, boring procedural stuff. Then Patricia called me to the stand. "State your name for the record," the judge said. "Maya Chen." "Miss Chen, can you tell the court about your childhood after you were removed from your mother's custody?" I took a breath. "I was placed in foster care when I was 3 years old. I stayed in the system until I aged out at 18. 14 different homes. Some were okay, some weren't. I was never adopted." "Why do you believe you weren't adopted?" "I was told I had behavioral issues," I said. "That I was too withdrawn, too angry. I didn't bond well with prospective families." "And now, knowing what you know about why you were separated from your mother, how do you feel about that assessment?" I looked directly at the man across the room, my biological father, the stranger who'd called CPS and set this nightmare in motion. "I think I was grieving," I said. "I think I was a traumatized 3-year-old who'd been ripped away from her family and didn't understand why. And instead of getting help, I got labeled as difficult and moved from home to home until nobody wanted to try anymore." "Objection," his lawyer said. "Relevance." "Overruled," the judge said. "Continue, Miss Chen." "I spent 15 years believing my mother didn't want me, that she'd thrown me away. I built my entire identity around being alone, around not needing anyone, and now I find out she spent her whole life trying to find me, that she died thinking I hated her, that she built me a room in a house I never got to see her in." My voice broke. I didn't try to hide it. "That man," I said, pointing at my father, "took that from me. He lied to CPS, he destroyed my family, and now he wants to take the last thing my mother left behind, the house she built dreaming we'd be together again? No, absolutely not." Patricia nodded. No further questions. My father's lawyer stood up. He was young, ambitious-looking, the kind of lawyer who takes contingency cases hoping for a payday. "Miss Chen, you stated you never met your biological father. Is that correct?" "That's correct." "So you have no personal knowledge of his relationship with your mother or his reasons for contacting Child Protective Services?" "I know he was abusive," I said. "My siblings told me. My mother's restraining order told me. The fact that he's only showing up now that there's money involved tells me." Objection, speculation. Sustained. The witness will stick to facts. The lawyer smiled like he'd scored a point. "Miss Chen, is it true that you signed a DNA registry specifically to find your biological family?" "Yes." "So you wanted to be found?" "I wanted to know where I came from." "And now you have. You've found your siblings, your father, your biological family. Isn't that what you wanted?" I stared at him. "That man is not my family. My family is the woman who painted me for 20 years, the brother who spent 15 years searching for me, the sister who kept every promise. Family isn't biology, it's who shows up." And he never did. The courtroom was silent. The judge called a recess. We waited in the hallway for 90 minutes. Daniel paced. Sarah sat with her head in her hands. I stared at the floor and thought about a woman I'd never met who loved me enough to paint me into existence year after year. When the bailiff called us back, the judge looked tired. "I've reviewed the testimony and the evidence," she said. "This is a complicated case involving parental rights, inheritance law, and the long-term consequences of decisions made by Child Protective Services 25 years ago. My heart hammered. However, the law is clear. Miss Lin Chen voluntarily terminated her parental rights to the minor child Maya Chen in 1999. At that time, the biological father, Mr. Richard Morrison, was not identified on any legal documents, had no custody arrangement, and had an active restraining order filed against him by Miss Lin Chen. My father's lawyer started to stand. The judge held up her hand. Mr. Morrison made no attempt to establish paternity or custody during the 20 years Miss Maya Chen was in foster care. He made no attempt to contact her, support her, or acknowledge her existence until 6 months ago, following Miss Lin Chen's death and the revelation of her estate. Your Honor, the lawyer started, I'm not finished. The law recognizes that parental rights can be forfeited not just through legal action, but through abandonment. Mr. Morrison's complete absence from his daughter's life, combined with his documented history of domestic violence and his admitted criminal record, constitute clear abandonment under Washington state law. The judge looked directly at my father. Furthermore, the evidence shows that Mr. Morrison's false report to Child Protective Services in 1999 directly led to the separation of this family. While I cannot retry that case here, I can consider his actions as evidence of intent and character. The court finds that Mr. Morrison has no legal standing to claim inheritance rights on behalf of a daughter he abandoned. She turned to us. The estate of Lin Chen will be distributed according to her will, equal shares to her 3 children, Daniel Chen, Sarah Chen, and Maya Chen. This court recognizes Miss Maya Chen as the rightful heir and daughter of Lin Chen, regardless of the legal termination of parental rights. The gavel came down. We'd won. It's been 1 year since I met my siblings. 1 year since I learned my mother's name was Lin, and she loved me in a way I'm still learning to understand. We finished the house together. Daniel painted my room a soft gray. Sarah hung the paintings, all of them. I planted new roses in the garden. I moved in 6 months ago. Sarah visits every Wednesday. Daniel comes for dinner every Sunday. We're learning how to be siblings, how to be family. It's not easy. 20 years of separation doesn't disappear overnight. Sometimes I still wake up panicking, convinced I'm alone. Sometimes Sarah cries for no reason. Sometimes Daniel gets angry at the unfairness of it all. But we show up. We keep showing up. On my mother's birthday, we went to the cemetery together for the first time. I brought the last painting she made of me and propped it against her headstone. Hi, Mom, I said. I'm home. And I swear, I felt her answer. Family isn't who you're born to. It's who fights for you, who searches for you, who paints you into existence when you're gone, who builds you a room in a house you've never seen. My mother gave me up to save me, and it broke us both. But love doesn't end when families are separated. It just waits. It keeps vigil. It paints and dreams and hopes until the door finally opens. I'm Maya Chen. I was lost for 20 years, but I was never abandoned. I was always loved. And now, finally, I'm home. If this story moved you, hit subscribe and like. Comment below with one word that describes your family, blood or chosen. And remember, it's never too late to come home.